This room is where I spend up to 1/3 of all of my time. That's a big thing. You know, your place of work should be somewhere that you can do your best work in. And currently, well, as you can see, this room's a friggin' tip. I use the simple technique of just breaking down 3 little things to be able to fix. Is every time I currently try and move my microphone, pedestal that it's connected to moves. Second problem I wanted to solve is be able to have access to the Mac keyboard and my NKS keyboard for writing music and working in my DAW. And my third big gripe is the current cabling. There is stuff just everywhere running under these supports. I've outgrown you. I broke it down to what can I do to solve those 3 problems. Research, and I researched, and I researched, and I researched, and essentially discovered that there's very little out there that caters to exactly what you're after. But I did come across one thing. I came across the output desk. I know, that's not the desk in the thumbnail, is it? I looked at the output desk. I went to go order it, import tax, which also added into the delivery cost. And basically it doubled the cost of the desk, which was just insane. And this time I came across this. However, I remember that it's based in Germany. Are these guys going to be able to look after me and get this shipped without doubling the price? It turns out, yes, these crafty Germans, they figured out Brexit before us in the UK have figured out Brexit. Maybe we should let them run the, So it turns out they can get it shipped without having to go through all the faff of the extra VAT and whatnot. And to save me explaining it, I'll link an article below of how they can do that for you. Now here's the kicker. It's all these flat packs in here. All right, so I've cleared enough space, I hope, to at least build the desk, because I'm going to put the desk along this back wall now instead of obviously right here, which means I've got to move the acoustic treatment as well, but I've got a bunch more to put up. But I want to build the desk, get it in position before I then measure out to get the acoustic paneling behind it. All right, so the build, not that complex. If you've done an IKEA flat pack before, it's okay. Now, one thing I will say, I built this by myself. If you've got a second person, could be really useful. Certain key moments, pretty tricky on your own, where you've got to reach from one end of the desk to the other. If you can do it, great. If you've got a second person give you a hand, I'd recommend it. The other thing, some of the bits are a little finicky to get in with your bare hands if you're not used to pummeling things with your palm. If you can, just get a hammer with a rubber stop. It doesn't recommend that, but I think it's going to be much better for putting in some of the dowlings and some of the small little plastic bits. If you hit them with a regular hammer, you're probably going to bend them or destroy them, and they're really quite difficult to push in otherwise. So here is the final setup and everything as I wanted to have it. As you can see, I've got my 25 key keyboard and my MPC 25K on the lower shelf, so they can just be pulled out when I want to use them. All of the cabling for them runs through the back and straight through those holes there, and then either runs to the Mac itself or runs across the hidden cable tray across the back. And that's where pretty much all of the cabling is. I've actually also stored my 2 hard drives back there. In terms of workflow and ergonomics, you can see I've got my UAD here, and all of the cabling runs straight down through the desk, and again to that cable tray across the back, and then to where it needs to go. Whereas the MPC, at the moment, I've just got the 2 outs of the MPC running up, and they're running straight into the UAD from there. As time goes on, I'll need to add my optical in one of the racks. I'm probably going to put that in on the far right mount here, because with the desk comes the option to add rack mounts as well, and I might as well get that mounted in there so I can use all of the outputs and have some extra synth inputs as well. As you can see, my microphone arm is now mounted in between the 2 speakers. I can lift it up so I've got a clear line of sight, line of ear. Yeah, whatever, line of ear. For me, it solved my big 3 issues. Bonus, I got the MPC in there as well. And the cabling and the routing, having that all hidden away, all routed through the desk and on that nice cable tray at the back. And another added bonus, being able to get the hard drives out there and just have those routed down out of the way. Overall, give a rating for the desk of literally a 9 out of 10. There's a couple of tiny little niggles where things hadn't quite lined up on the build. For example, the keyboard tray is just a couple of mil out, so it can be a little bit finicky when pulling it out, but it's a really minor thing. If you have any questions, leave it in a comment below. I always do my best to get back to everyone who asks a question. And if you're looking for what to cover next, well, maybe let's have a look at the 5 best mastering plugins of the year.